Yeah, well, so we are live, and as you guys know, the Indian squad for the T20 World Cup has been announced yesterday, and I think everyone was, to some extent, shocked. To be very honest, to see Shubman Gill miss out. It's not like Shubman Gill did a lot to save his spot, but I mean, at one point of time, he was the vice captain in the team when he was made to come back since their Australian series, and probably India were looking at him as the future captain in all three across all three formats, and now him missing out from the T20 World Cup squad seems to be a bit of a shocker. Something, I mean, a tough pill to digest, maybe. And to add to the masala, they've brought back Ishan Kishan. Well, he did excellently at the in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy, and you can argue that probably that was. Kind of a reward. Also, Rinku Singh, who was dropped from the South Africa series, he also did decently in the squad, and he also came back. So, I mean, we will try to have a discussion mainly on this Indian T20 World Cup squad. And guys, please put in your comments. Please share your feedbacks, your thoughts, and we can have a good discussion. So, up to Ritik now.
Yeah, I mean, what Saptarshi said that, especially the absence of Gill in the squad, that came like a shocker to many of us because he is now, the man after Virat Kohli, the poster boy of Indian cricket, as they call. And to not see him was definitely a big shock. And as you mentioned, that the return of Ishan Kishan after he led Jharkhand to their first trophy in the Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy, and of course, Rinku Singh, again, very well deserved considering we all know what value he brings in the squad, especially those late knocks. Late in the innings, the way he can play. So yeah, all in all, I would say a very decent and balanced squad. I think after long, I'm seeing, especially in the GG era, a balanced squad. And I put balanced in quotes. So yeah, look forward to how this team performs. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this looks a very decent squad, to be honest. And so, what do you feel about the exclusion of Shubman Gill? Like, do you feel he should have been? I mean, when he was given a chance in these two series, he should have been carried till the T20 World Cup. Also, your thoughts on Sky? I mean, because he is also someone who hasn't been amongst the runs ever since he's been made the captain. So, if you see post the T20 World Cup, he's having a serious dip in form, and there's been serious questions. But it's just that the team's winning, so he's not yet come under that much of a scanner.
See, the point is that India's bowling, especially if I talk about in T20s, that's really really good. And beating India, that too in India, is gonna be really difficult. Yeah, you can argue that all those things that happened in tests, even in one days, I think South Africa came very close. But in T20, it's different. And I think also looking at the captain, Sky, yeah, he hasn't been amongst the runs. But in terms of captaincy, as well as if I talk about Gigi, his role as a coach in the T20 arena, he looks a different coach, to be honest, in this format compared to that in Test, especially. So, yeah, like you said, that really look forward to this team, and the team they have chosen is spot on. Perhaps the best they could have, uh, the best they could have done. And yeah, let's see how it pans out. But yeah, I'm really hopeful given this squad.
Yeah, so I mean, how do you look at the playing 11 at this point of time? So I think it will be mostly Abhishek opening with Sanju Samson, and then they have got,
Yeah,
I think number three will be Surya Kumar Yadav. They've got Tilak at number four. Then they've got Dubey at five, Hardik at six, probably Akshar at seven. Akshar can be used as a floater also. They've also got Washington Sundar as an option, but I think mostly it will be
I'm
Akshar
not
Patel at
sure.
seven.
Yeah, yeah.
And then 8, 9, 10, 11. Now that's where the problem starts because you are surely playing
Mm,
Bumrah and Kuldeep. So who are your other
yeah.
two? If you play Arshdeep and sorry Bumrah and Varun. So if you play
You can't remove Varun. Yeah, you can't
yeah,
remove
so
Varun.
so if you play Arshdeep and Kuldeep both, that means your batting ends at seven because Kuldeep comes at eight. So
Yeah.
then comes the problem of losing wickets on a day and then not having enough batting depth to compensate for that. But if you want to compensate the batting depth, you need to play someone like an Harshit Rana at number 8, just to give that extra
Yeah.
cushion to the batters. So, which way do you feel they should go?
See, I mean, batting depth always helps, especially given that we know that the moment the top order or the middle order fails to perform, they are the ones you rely on. So, yeah, I mean, that is really a, I mean, that's the thing. It's a good problem to have. We can say that since India has so many good players, I mean, in the bench, I mean, in the entire squad, but yeah, eventually some guys would be benched. So it's a good question to have. But yeah, I mean, if you ask me honestly, that if there are two guys and you need to choose between Washington and Harshit, I mean, closing my eyes, I'm going for definitely Harshit Rana, given the current form.
Yeah, so that's something which India needs to answer probably, and also
And Washington,
like
I doubt that he would definitely not be the first choice. I mean, unless there's some injury, we are not going to see him in the squad.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure about
maybe
that.
on some pitches they need that extra spinner. Maybe they drop Kuldeep and play Washington just to get that extra batting comfort. That they have the
Yeah,
luxury. They've also got Rinku who can play if maybe someone like a Dubey or Hardik gets injured. Dubey for sure. I
yeah.
mean, if they feel or Dubey gets injured or Dubey is not in form, then they can play Rinku. Who else do they have? Yeah,
Shivam is there, Rinku, Akshar, Bumrah, Arshdeep, Kuldeep,
I
Washington,
think
Ishan
we've
Kishan.
covered most of
We
them,
have
right?
covered, I think. Yeah, we
I think
discussed about Tilak, right? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Tilak, I mean, has been fantastic since the last year. I mean, those two centuries in South Africa, then the way he played the Asia Cup final, he has been very
Mm.
good, to be honest. Okay, and now Ishan Kishan is there. Again, Ishan Kishan, I don't really see him starting the tournament, but definitely a backup cover for someone like a Sanju Samson. Also, how do you feel about the exclusion of Jitesh Sharma? This was something which even Dinesh Karthik was talking about last day.
See, that's the thing. I mean, I think it has got to more to do with the inclusion of Ishan Kishan, because otherwise I felt that Jitesh could have been taken. But considering the wonderful form that Ishan Kishan is in currently, and especially after this Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy, I think that played in his part. But yeah, otherwise I think I mean they could have kept. I mean maybe Washington could have been avoided, but then again, yeah, you Washington just gives you that extra advantage of being an all-rounder. That could have been the reason that Jitesh is out and Washington is in. So that's what I feel actually. But yeah, otherwise he could have been a good asset in this team.
Yeah, so I mean, if I just ask you, like, what do you feel can be the say weaknesses of this side in particular?
Uh, Weakness, I mean, as in the thing we were discussing in the initial part of our live. I mean, yeah, we have just 8 minutes into the live, I agree. But yeah, the points we were discussing a bit earlier that like provided you don't take a good squad with a batting depth, I mean, you can land yourself in trouble. So that's when like guys like Harshit Rana or someone like Washington, I mean, if he performs, they can come in handy. But yeah, again, as we all know, the nature of Indian team as it has been for so many years, that they are still pretty much reliant on the top order. And if and we have seen this before as well, that if guys like Abhishek Sharma, if these are guys are not amongst the runs, the opposition can really catch you by your neck, and that can. And somehow, if the tail also doesn't play to their full potential, yeah, you can land yourself in trouble.
Yes, and also, I mean, the bowling, to be honest, looks to be India's strongest point this time. I mean, Bumrah and Varun are two absolute cheat codes, and
Especially
I mean,
Varun is the X factor, not Bumrah this time for me.
uh,
This time
yeah,
it's
and
Varun.
I mean, you imagine, I mean, as an opposition, if these two have both of these two, the day have a good day,
My
then,
goodness.
I mean, 8 overs of absolute gold dust, and then Kuldeep also is a very good bowler on these surfaces. There,
Yeah.
if they play Arshdeep somehow, he is a decent bowler again. Then they've got
Hardik, we know he has a golden arm. Yeah.
yeah, they've got Hardik, and then you've got Akshar with his left arm spin. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's a pretty good bowling lineup. I think the trick for oppositions this time against India should be to somehow find the chinks in their batting. If they can restrict that batting to
Yeah.
some decent score, or they, I mean, even if they bowl second, they need to restrict that batting to a decent score. That's the only way I feel they have a chance against this Indian lineup, because once this Indian
Yeah.
lineup posts a good total, the other day also we saw this posted 235. South Africa were going so well. They needed some
Hmm.
115 odd of the last 10 overs, and then all of a sudden that massive collapse. Varun has been an absolute threat over the last couple of years, over the
I
last
mean,
year or so, ever
and
since his comeback.
and not that South Africa played really. I mean, it was not that it was a one-sided game. They even we managed to reach, I think, some 200 odd runs. So they were pretty close actually.
Yes,
So that's the thing. I mean, unless you manage to restrict India to somewhere around, I think 180, 190. I mean, definitely under 200. And if you're not able to do that, I mean, it's really difficult against them. So that's the way you should target. That's the area.
yes, surely. I mean, that's the way somehow they need to target. Also, like, uh, who do you feel can challenge India the most this T20 World Cup? If I just put it that way.
With all the buzz around, I think South Africa is gonna be a good team, definitely a promising team. And I mean, the T20 World Cup, where is the venue actually? I somehow forgot.
Yeah, it's
I
India and Sri
think
Lanka. Mostly they will play in India.
India
I
and
mean,
Sri Lanka.
apart from the
Right,
Pakistan
right.
game, they will play in India only.
Yeah, Sri Lanka, actually, I'm not very hopeful. Yeah, to me, it's South Africa. I don't know why, but I get this vibe that this South African team is, I mean, much better than it used to be. So, yeah, this can be one. Regarding the Australia New Zealand side, have the squads been announced? I'm not very sure. I've not been following lately. But I think very soon we will see their squads as well of the other teams.
Yeah, surely. I mean, squads will come up. It's just around, I
But
think.
again, I mean, these teams like India, Australia, England, even New Zealand to some extent, these teams are always in the limelight. We all know these three, four teams. So, I mean, anyone can challenge. But yeah, you can't never count out South Africa this time.
Yeah, surely. I think South Africa have some issues in the T20 batting lineup. If you see, I mean, Aiden Markram in particular hasn't had a very good record as a T20 captain. They've lost too many series since the T20 World Cup 24. They lost against India at home, lost here against India, conceded 300 odd against England, lost against Australia at home, lost against Australia in Australia. So the T20 record over the last 1.5 years hasn't been impressive as such, but definitely they have got talented players. Australia, I think, have been very good over the last one year. Only lost that series to India. England, I mean, again, they are a hot and cold team. Everyone is aware that they
Yeah,
have got the talent and power in their lineup. So on their day, they even ended up scoring 300. So, and New Zealand, they're always the underdogs in come the T20 World Cups, or I mean, if for that matter, any IC tournament. So,
yeah,
like, also, how do you, I mean, see India's selection process? So, like, will this send a very good message to the team that someone like Shubman Gill, who
yes.
was back to this much, all of a sudden he's dropped. In comes Rinku, in comes Kishan, who weren't even in the scheme of things. So, what message does it convey to the others?
Yeah, I would say if you ask someone like me, I mean, I can speak from the point of view of myself, and I'm pretty sure that other fans would also agree that this sends a strong message, especially the exclusion of Gill and the inclusion of someone like Ishan Kishan. Because I remember that even a few weeks back, I mean, there were all those messages circling around social media regarding the favoritism that Gautam Gambhir brings to this whole Indian dressing room, especially with the likes of guys like Shubman Gill and Harshit Rana. It was like these two guys are fixed, and then the remaining nine can be in any order. You can just go on and select any other nine players. But this time, I think, and that test series definitely, I think that could have been a wake up call, and the process has really improved. I think, and yeah, this should send a positive message, and it also, I mean, motivates these players, guys like Ishan Kishan, someone like Rinku Singh to play to their potential because they know that if we do well, actually, there's a strong chance that we can find ourselves a spot in this squad. Yeah,
Yeah, surely. So, uh, I mean, definitely this was a bizarre selection, to be honest, but I think in a positive light, because and probably Shubman was somehow with poor performances
And his
not.
injury scares. I mean, he was definitely not giving his 100% with that injury in place.
Yeah, and I think somehow those poor performances from Shubman wasn't contributing enough, particularly to the balance of the team. And so, in that case, you can argue that it's not a selection which has hampered anyone, but probably there needs to be a bit more clarity. That's the point, to be very honest.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah, let's
like,
just check if we have any comments. I mean, since we are already 15 minutes into the live, I don't
no,
see any
we
actually
had a
at the
couple of
moment.
views some time back, but there hasn't
Okay, okay.
there hasn't been any comments as of such.
I guess
So,
guys are busy. I mean, we can understand that it's a Sunday evening, not our customary schedule. Not that we come often during this time. So yeah,
yeah,
anyway,
yes. I mean, any other points from your side?
I mean, but the point we were making about selection, I mean, to me, it was spot on. And this is something that should happen. I mean, you select players not based on favoritism, but based on their current form and the way you, I mean, the trust you put, especially in the new players. And I mean, this T20 victory again, this would play in favor of India, I would say, this series victory, because after that Test series, the morale was down. And then that ODI and T20 series, I mean, especially given that the World Cup is not very far. So this would definitely act
Yeah,
in
yeah,
India's favor.
surely. I mean, see, India's white ball team is in a very good space at this point of time. Yeah, I know they haven't won a lot of ODI series overseas over the last 3 4 years, but I think this T20 team is probably they're one of the best teams. I argue,
Surely.
ever since the first edition of the T20 World Cup, because this is the first time they are sending a proper T20 kind of team, someone who follows all the T20 nuances, the current T20 mantra. And this is a very balanced team with so many all rounders, so many batting options, bowling options. And India are, I mean,
Yeah,
by far the favorites to win this World Cup with the added sugar coating of the tournament being held in their own home conditions. So
yeah.
I think India definitely have a very, very good chance. And this is probably a very balanced squad. Probably a reason why India have kept on winning despite some bizarre decisions throughout the last 1 year. But in the
Great.
test arena, the scene is a bit different with the transition period and India having not picked some correct players here and there. The results haven't
Mm,
been visible.
absolutely. And added to that, I do not hesitate in admitting the fact that this is perhaps the best format for GG as a coach as well. I mean, when it comes to coaching in this format, Gautam Gambhir looks a completely different coach. His like thought process and clarity is on a different level. I think you would also agree to that.
Yeah, I think. See, I mean, T20 coaching and test coaching requires different skills. I feel. I mean, in T20, you need to be a bit more tactically stronger and all those things. Some very sharp mind games and all. And also, Gambhir has the experience of managing T20 teams because if you see,
Yeah,
he has, I mean, worked in KKR
and
as a
he's been a
mentor.
successful one. Yeah.
And yeah, he has also led KKR to titles as a captain, so he has got those skills. But come to Teft, it's not about too much of putting in your brain, but it's more about picking the right players with the right skill set and players based on certain conditions. Also, maybe giving a bit more ideas on their techniques and how to counter various conditions and all
Yeah,
this stuff.
true. Yeah, and on a different note, guys, I'm not sure if the match is over now, but I was checking that Asia Cup, World Under 19 Asia Cup, the final was taking place between India and Pakistan, and unfortunately, it's been a day to forget for the Indian fans, I would say. I've not checked the
Yes,
score yet.
yeah,
Saptashi, if you
they have
can check
lost.
the score, because
They have lost 156 all out.
yeah,
I mean, they
and
have lost 191 runs. They have
completely
lost.
one-sided game, I would say, for the Pakistan team.
Mm. Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah,
India just couldn't stand. I mean, their highest scorer was I think Deepesh Devendran, the bowler. He scored 36 of 16. Apart from that, I
so
mean,
not
Vaibhav scored
even
20.
150 in the entire batting lineup, right? Not even a single 50.
No, leave on 50. 36 was the highest score. 36,
That
19,
that's what I
13,
said.
and 20. Yeah, so five players only scored above 10 in double digits.
Yeah, I
And
mean, defeat to
Pakistan,
forget. Yeah,
yeah, Pakistan was superb. I mean, 347, and then I mean, it's pretty. It resembles pretty much the.
348 is anyway is going to be difficult,
I mean,
especially
this
on
is
a
pretty
final
much
night.
similar to the
Yeah,
2017 City final where Pakistan scored around 350, I think 330 for 340, and then India lost by some 180
yeah,
runs. Pretty similar to that match, if I just want to have a comparison. So, yeah, the Under 19 World Cup is also coming up. So, this will be a wake up call for the Indian team.
surely. I mean, I can agree that on the day of the final, I mean, it's definitely luck plays a big factor, but I mean, the way they played, I mean, I didn't see any fight, to be honest, and that's the saddest part for me as a fan. So yeah, I mean, you win or you lose, that's a different thing, but you got to play in the final like someone like Australia. I mean, even if they lose, they fight till their last breath, and that is something I think which was missing today. And of course, that led to Pakistan winning the match single-handedly.
Yeah, surely. Also, I mean, uh, since I think there's not a lot more to talk about the T20 World Cup squad, so we can have a small chat on the Ashes also before we wrap up.
Yeah, I have not been able to follow a lot lately, but I think Saptashi can add his insights more compared to me. Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
you can start maybe.
to be honest, I feel very sad for England because I don't really feel. I mean, if you see, I mean, the score line 3-0, you will feel England were absolutely trash. But if you have had watched observed the games very carefully, and this is not the story of this series. I mean, I think people are slandering baseball too much. They don't, but I don't really feel that it's baseball. If you see this game also, in the first innings, most of the dismissals were in conventional test ways. Maybe only to
Yeah,
some extent you can say uh, Olipov dismissal was a bit weird one. I mean, someone coming out in number three and trying to, I mean, a fifth, sixth term ball, he was trying to drag it to the leg side. That was a bit weird dismissal, but it wasn't too rash. In the second innings, you can say that Jamie Smith was a bit
this
rash,
time
but
also that stump out of Zach Crowley, I think that was also not a very conventional dismissal. I think.
yeah, but I think it
Uh,
was more down to the mastery of Nathan Lyon. It's not like he tried to hit a
yeah, yeah.
six. He just tried to come down and, I mean, covered up the spin, but failed to do so. But yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, Jamie Smith's dismissal you can criticize a bit because today morning England were batting very well, and if you see, I mean, Nathan Lyon had got injured trying to catch one at fine leg. He had limped off, so Australia were panicking a bit. Lyon wasn't there; they had taken the new ball, and Jamie Smith was in full flow. He had hit a six of Lyon, hit a six of Cameron Green. He smashed Cummins down the ground, then hit him for a four, then drove Stark for two fours on either side of the wicket, and he was in full mode. I mean, 60 not out of some 83. And at that point, all of a sudden, with Mitchell Stark, who probably bowled the best in this series, with the new ball, he tries to hit after two fours in the previous over. Also, he again tries to hit him for a six and gets out. I mean, that was needless. Who knows? Another 50, 70 runs in that partnership, and England could have started feeling better. Australia would have started feeling, I mean, because once the new ball got old, they wouldn't even have it land. So who knows? There would have been a better chance. So I mean, that was something. But I think they could have been better if you see even throughout this series. I mean, at Perth when they were leading by almost 100 runs with one wicket down, they just gave away the match. That short phase after lunch when they lost 4 wickets for 11 runs. Even in and Gabba, if I say it that way, from 212 for 4 on the first day, they got out. They were 263 for 9, and then somehow that Jofra Root partnership saved them. But that bowling innings
Yeah.
was absolutely trash. I mean, they had absolutely no plans. And I think they could have played someone like Josh Tongue and Perth or Gabba. Gus Atkinson is more of a, I mean, he's a very good bowler, but he's someone who uh, is more of a floaty kind of a bowler. He will probably do better in English conditions or conditions where there's just enough grass to kiss the surface and do. In Australia, what you need is you need to hit the surface hard. Even if you don't have enough
Yeah.
pace, you need to hit the surface hard and need to have that impact on the bat. That's what Josh Tongue can do. That's something which Jofra can do. I mean, I have full respect for Jofra. He's been very good throughout this series, to be honest. And I think he could have got
Yeah.
even more wickets if not for those dropped catches. Harry Brook dropped Khawaja for 5 in the first innings. Khawaja went on to make almost 80. Second innings, he dropped Head on 99. Head went on to make 70 more runs. So you add these two and the 140, 150 more runs here only. I mean, these catch drops haven't helped them a lot. Even in GABA, if I see at one point, even after that good start, Australia were 319 for six, and then the next day Stark and Boland put on a 100 runs partnership. So that's how these games have changed. So I mean, if Ritik wants to add anything.
Yeah, I mean, the point you were making that baseball is not the sole reason they lost, because if you see and if you look into the past games and even the past few years, baseball has actually helped England win many of the matches. And at one point, it was like I think under the baseball regime, England won. I think the first some it was some around the 80 or 90% the success rate. I think after 10 or 11 games. So at that time, people were like, okay, all of a sudden this new buzzword had come in the market, and now all of a sudden, when you're not getting the results, I think baseball is being singled out as the sole contributor for these losses, which I don't think is correct.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
correct?
So
Yeah.
like people are saying, they even if they get whitewashed here, baseball is the only thing responsible for that. But I don't think so. I mean, just go and check England's stats in Australia. They have won only 57 and lost around 100 odd matches in Australia. So
Hmm.
that speaks of their record in Australia. It's not that, I mean, the last three tours also they've been 4-0 twice and 5-0 once, with greats like Alastair Cook, Ian Bell, Jonathan Trott, everyone there in 2013. So it's not like they have won a lot in the conventional way. Rather, I feel this time they had a chance because the Australian team also didn't have some of their players in the first two games. They didn't have Steve Smith here, mind you. They didn't have Pat
Yeah,
Cummins in the
yeah,
first two games. No Josh Hazelwood. I think someone else was also missing in that. Yeah, they didn't have Pat Cummins and Josh Hazelwood for the first two tests. Steve Smith
yeah, yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
here. Nathan Lyon didn't play the second test. Nathan Lyon limped off here also in the second innings. So they had enough chances. Even in the chase, if you see yesterday when they were at 177 for three, Harry Brook attempting that reverse sweep against Lyon, exposing his stumps, and he got out. They were 177 for
Yeah,
three and well set for the chase. I know for 35 is a way long, but this team has done some extraordinary stuffs. They have chased down 370 odd twice against India. Even at
yep.
Oval, they were very well set for the 370 run chase when Harry Brook gave away. So you just imagine 177 for three. Had they been yesterday, just three down, they could have a better chance today. Today, when Jimmy Smith had the momentum, he gave away the momentum. So it's all about just even Ben Stokes when we gave that press conference at Brisbane, he looked absolutely flabbergasted that we have all the talent, but it's about performing in those clutch moments, which Australia always wins.
Absolutely, and can't agree more. And especially if you look at this match also, I mean, chasing some 430 odd runs, and the margin of defeat was some, I think, 80 odd runs. So that tells you that it was definitely not a one-sided game. And England was always, I mean, they had their share in the match. But it's all about capitalizing on the right moments, and that is something that England didn't do as well as they should have. And who knows? I mean, we could have seen a 2-1 instead of a 3-0. And yeah, and on that point, I think I would also like to ask you that, I mean, we have talked about Jofra, we've talked about the bowling of Australia, we've talked about Mitchell Stark. And so my point is that how do you see or how do you assess the performance of Ben Stokes so far in this Ashes? We all know he's the go-to man for England whenever there's a crisis period. So,
See,
and
see,
how do you
I
see
think
that?
I
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
they have done better. They were, I mean, on full steroids kind of vibe in Perth, going after every ball. I think they have improved a better. If you see, even in this innings, I feel Zach Crawley's innings was a better application. Jamie Smith, I was happy for him that he finally got some runs. Uh, I think Oli
yeah,
Pope is in the most endangered position at this point of time, and I won't be surprised if he loses out his spot in the Boxing Day Test to say Jacob Bethel. I think Jacob
yeah.
Bethel is the candidate waiting for that spot. Ben Duckett, to be honest, I really don't feel he has his game in Australia. I mean, the way he plays, not leaving a lot outside of stump, he always tries to slash and play those cuts through cuts behind the square. That's something which you can very well do in England, but or even in the subcontinent when he can play sweeps and reverse sweeps a lot against the spinners. But in Australia, I really don't feel he has his game. So I'm not very optimistic about him also in the next couple of tests. Zach Crawley, I feel, has
And
done
about
better.
Stokes?
And Stokes, I
Yep,
mean, he has been superb throughout the series, to be honest. Joe Root, apart from that 100, has looked a bit lackluster. You expect more from
yep.
someone of the caliber of Joe Root. And Harry Brook,
And with
again, I
his
mean,
experience.
yeah, and Harry Brook, I mean, again, he has all the talent in the world, but he needs to be a bit more careful of his shot selection. I mean, this guy can smash I mean, this guy can smash a run a ball 180 coming in at day one on Basin Reserve when they were 21 for three. He smashed a
Yeah,
180 against
man.
the likes of Matt Henry, Team Saudi, and everyone. And then he plays some silly shots, and I mean, he loses his wicket. So it's about, I mean, it's time that they need to have a look at these things. I mean, this is a team which can do far better. Even that India series, their chances to win. Even when they came to India, their chances to win. But this is not how you win series. And I
But
think
actually,
a lot of the owners
yeah,
will also lie on Baz. I think he's also in a bit risky position at this point
yeah,
of time,
he's
and there
under
might
the
be
radar
some
now.
there might be
Yep.
some questions raised after this Ashes. To be honest, on his role.
Yep. And actually, the point you were making about Brook, I think it also reminds me something of Rishabh Pant. I mean, we had those discussions that this guy, I mean, we all know what talent he possesses, but some of the rash shots, I mean, Rishabh Pant, he plays sometimes, I mean, that leads to him getting out. And we feel like, man, had this guy stayed a bit longer, I mean, the outcome could have been different. So it actually reminds me of Rishabh Pant, some of the innings that Rishabh Pant has played over the past few months or past few years.
Yeah, so I agree. I mean, these players like Rishabh Pant, Harry Brook, these are players who live by the sword, die
Yep.
by the sword. There's times when even Rishabh Pant has been criticized for his shot selection. You remember the last BGT tour when Gavaskar shouted on media, "Stupid, stupid,
Yeah.
stupid." He was shouted on
Yeah.
air. But yeah, but I think sometimes it's about judging the game situation. I'm not asking someone to clutter young Brooks' head with a lot of things. You can't make him bat like an Alistair Cook or like a Jonathan Trott. You can't. I mean, he has his own technique, and I'm absolutely fine with it. Travis Head became Travis Head when he was freed up and allowed to play in his way. You can't expect Travis Head to play like a Usman Khawaja, like a Marnus Labuschagne, Steve Smith. So everyone has
Yep.
his own technique, but I think so. Like, I mean, why do you play that reverse sweep against Nathan Lyon? You play the reverse sweep against Travis Head. I'm okay. Travis Head is not someone who will turn the ball sharply, but when you know Nathan Lyon will turn it from outside the off stump, you are trying to play the reverse sweep, and when you're playing the reverse sweep, it's against the spin, so you are taking, and you know Nathan Lyon has got the bounce to beat you, to beat your reverse sweep, and to make matters worse, you are playing the reverse sweep, exposing your leg stump. Had you covered your stumps, kept your body in line, there would have been a chance that it would have hit your maybe front leg, and maybe, just maybe, you could have been saved if it had been just clipping the leg stump or missing it. Umpires call something, you might have been saved, but you are exposing your leg stump and you are just hoping to connect it. So, I mean, that's the worst shot you can play against Nathan Lyon. You imagine, had
Agreed.
they've been 4 or 5 down today and Nathan Lyon injured, they would have had a realistic chance.
Surely, surely. Nathan Lyon, I mean, and you need to actually assess the bowler. I mean, more than anything else, that
Yeah,
who you are hitting the shot to.
similar to Jamie Smith. You know that Nathan Lyon is injured. Australia are panicking a bit. They don't have any other quality spinner, so they are literally now relying on the new ball spell from Cummins and Stark. And
Yep.
you have hit Cummins for two boundaries. You have hit Stark for two boundaries, and then again you try to smash someone like Mitchell Stark with the new ball for a six. What was the need for that shot? Are you playing T20 cricket?
Yeah,
I'm not
that's the
telling you
point. I
to
mean,
play defensively. I'm not telling you to play maidens after maidens. I'm not telling you to play like Cheteshwar Pujara, but you've already got 16 runs of the last 2 overs. What was the need for another shot against Mitchell Stark? That to an ideal shot at that point of time when you are having the momentum. I'm not saying that had he not attempted that shot, he would have won the game. It was still difficult. He might have got out defending also. But what was the need of that shot? I just don't get the logic. Even if I go back to that Oval game, what was the need for Harry Brook? I mean, he had played so well in that Oval chase against India, 100 runs, and then all of a sudden he became excited, hit two boundaries, and again tried hitting a six to Akash Dev, got out.
hmm, that is the point. I mean, you just can't take these bowlers lightly. Someone like Stark, someone like the likes
Yeah,
of Cummins or
I
Nathan Lyon for
mean,
that matter.
man, he is Mitchell Stark. He's no random bowler. You've already driven
Yep.
him for two excellent boundaries. What you are expecting? You will hit him for six sixes in Test cricket. You know that he is trying.
It just
He will
doesn't work
try to
that
do
way.
something different, and you again go for a shot. Just fall into the trap.
Yep.
It also takes me back to that game at Rajkot when they were 200. I remember they were 224 for two, uh, in a very good position. India don't have Ashwin. India panicking on that flat, absolute road deck. And what happens? Just with Bumrah bowling, the best bowler of the opposition, and someone like Joe Root attempts a reverse ramp, that favorite shot of his, and he gets out and opens the floodgates. What was the need of that shot? You're trying to reverse ramp judges. Why you're not? It's also not like you are in a very tricky situation. Okay, I understand that if no other shot is working, so you somehow try to take a chance, that I'm okay. But when the things are with you, why you are trying so much?
Yeah,
I mean, these are some things, and
absolutely.
I think maybe that's where you need. So, I mean, Baz has done his part. I think he's given the players freedom, the courage to play without any pressure. But I think now they need someone with a level head, someone to instruct them, someone to make them a bit more patient. And I mean, I would be happy if they get us coach like that, someone like of the ability of Ponting or maybe Langer.
Yeah, absolutely. And the point you were making, I mean, it all boils down to match awareness, more importantly, situation awareness. That you need to, I mean, okay, your instinct is on one side, but you also need to assess the situation really well before committing to any shot. And that's where I think coaches like someone like you mentioned, Ponting, or someone like some other guys, maybe I'm not getting the names in my head right now, but maybe these guys can help them to achieve that level of clarity, or maybe that level of situation awareness. And hopefully, the outcomes will turn out to be in the favor of the English side.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough time for the last two tests because my heart would wish to watch again. But I'm still hoping. I mean, anyways, there's still a lot to play for. I mean, 3-2 or 4-1 is far better than 5-0. So I think England still have a lot to fight for, at least for pride and WTC points, because you never know. These are
Yeah,
crucial points. These are crucial points. It's always better. 3-2 is far better than 5-0. But I mean, I really don't know what changes they expect in the next game, because I think Jofra might get a rest because he's played three in a row and it's really difficult for him. So if Jofra gets a rest, who comes in? That's my question. Gus Atkinson comes back, but Gus Atkinson isn't someone. I think they're also missing someone like a Mark Wood. Mark Wood played the first
yeah.
game and he's very good in Australia because he have the pace and bounce to trouble the batters. So they're missing someone like a Mark Wood. Also, I mean, England's catching, particularly in Australia. I think slip catching is a very slip gully catching is a very crucial part to win matches, because in Australia you don't get a lot of LBWs and bold with the bounce in the surfaces. It's mostly catches.
Absolutely.
Even in England, you can still get those bolts and LBWs because there's not a great deal of bounce. But in Australia, you have to be very sharp in the slips. And you've seen how Australia have caught in the slips. Steve Smith, Marnus
Yeah.
Labuschagne, they've been absolutely electric. Even Alex Carey with the gloves. And England has been shoddy. Brook dropped so many catches. Root dropped a couple of catches here and there. And they've been absolutely shoddy. Duckett dropped a couple at Brisbane. So it's at Brisbane. I remember they were 319 for six. They were trailing by some 16 runs at that point in the twilight session, and then they dropped Kerry twice. Had they Kerry or Naisat twice, had they got taken the catches, I mean, who knows? Stark could have been got out in the twilight session. So catches are very important, and even in Oval, I remember against India, they dropped 5 to 6 catches. They as well had two catch drops, and he went on to score 100.
This has been an issue that has been lingering on, and Australia actually showed you the way, and that what difference it makes.
And it's not that these guys are bad fielders. Joe Root, Zach Crawley, Harry Book, they've taken some stunners. So it's all down to
Yeah,
that
Joe Root
mental
especially.
thing. It's all
Yeah,
down to the mental thing that these guys can pluck stunners, but these guys drop some easy catches when they're under the pump.
and that's the thing. That's what happens when pressure comes in. All of a sudden, the hands feel a bit more. The hands feel slippy, and you get nervous, and I mean all those things that gets into your head. So I think, I mean, having lost the
Yeah,
series,
I
they
mean,
should come out with an open mind in the last two games,
yeah, I
and
mean,
yeah,
I really feel for Ben Stokes. I mean, this guy has given it his all, but he still didn't couldn't win it in Australia this time around. I really feel for him. I mean, maybe he just wishes that there were 10 more players with the same commitment like him in the team.
absolutely. Even if two, three more, and I mean. Maybe England could have won at least one game. They still have two more chances in this series, but yeah, I mean, at the moment the situation looks very bleak from the point of view of an English fan.
See, I mean, if I were the coach or I were Ben Stokes, I would just go to the dressing room and say, "See, we all are hurting. I know we had to come with the dream of winning. We couldn't. It's absolutely fine, but we need to give it our best for the last two games. We can't just think like we are done and we are just gonna get rolled in a couple of days with the last two games. We have to give it our all,
Yeah.
and let's give it one final push. We can still try and make it 3-2 and make it a happy ending for us. I mean, even if they can make it 3-2, I
Even
know
if it's a 4-1, 4-1,
yeah,
I would be, I mean, yeah.
yeah, I know I'm sounding super ambitious, but I mean that's why you play games, right? I mean, you can't think like we are done 3-0 and so we will just somehow play because we have to play. It can't be like that. If you're playing, give it your full. And I really want to see Pope drop. I mean, Pope has got some good innings, but I think at this point, guy is not in a mental space. I mean, he has been absolutely traumatized by Australia, and he's having a pretty poor record against Australia with no 15 innings or something. So I really want to see maybe someone like a Jacob Bethel, or maybe even I would say Will Jacks can get a promotion with the kind of batting he's shown at number 8 in the last two games.
Absolutely. That can be.
And
That can be
also,
the
I mean,
case.
England's spin issue. I mean, you in Adelaide you need a proper spinner. You don't bowl someone like a Will Jacks who is a T20 part-time spinner. Yeah, I mean, where is Shoaib Bashir? You were saying he's gonna be your next spinner for the next 10 years. You were backing him for the last 1 year. Where is Shoaib Bashir? Why all of a sudden you don't have enough confidence to play him? Who is answerable for this? Baz, Stokes, the management, who? Why
Yeah,
didn't you
even Jack
groom a
Leach,
proper spinner?
I'm not
Oh,
sure if he's, I mean, suitable, I mean, if he's there
yeah,
already in the
they
squad,
didn't
but
have Jack Leach over the last 1 year. I agree. Okay, I mean they thought Jack Leach's time is up. He's aged or something. They
mm,
have made him the second spinner, but they played Shoaib Bashir in every series. Even in the India series, he played 3 games before breaking his finger at
yeah,
Lords. So he's here in the squad. So what happened all of a sudden in the last 5 months that now you feel he cannot be played? Why don't why all of a sudden you don't have enough confidence in the guy whom you backed for 1 year? Then that's the fault of the management. It's not like become Shoaib Bashir was Shane Warne and now he has become a bad spinner all of a sudden. Shoaib Bashir is
yeah,
what he was 1 year back. So it's the fault of the management. Either they are not playing him for some reason or they were wrong when they backed him.
I mean, lots of questions actually to be answered.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of
So,
questions. And I mean, with the T20 World Cup coming up, they won't have even have a lot of time because some of these guys will be moving to the white ball games. Baz will also be the coach there. So I really hope they
yeah,
turn out with something good next summer. And these last two games, best wishes to Ben Stokes and co. So I think
yeah,
with not enough
fingers
comments,
crossed.
yeah, I think it's time to slowly wrap up all live. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So
it's a good time to wrap up because
yeah,
we don't see any more
yeah,
comments. But anyway, it's been a good discussion, I would say.
yeah, yeah. So I think we can wrap it up. And thanks,
Yeah,
Pratik, for your time. Thanks for
yeah,
all those guys
thanks.
who are watching. It would have been more pleasant if there would have been comments, but nonetheless, it's been a good discussion.
Yeah,
Cheers. Goodbye.
thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.